Hello, and welcome to the Deepnight Revelation Kickstarter. I'm Martin J. Dougherty, lead writer on the project, and what I'd like to do this time around is present an overview of what's in the box. There are 4 books in the box. The first is the adventure Deepnight Legacy. The last is the adventure Terminus Point. The travellers are sent to a remote outpost aboard a second supply ship. The first hasn't come back. Their mission is to find out what happened and make sure the outpost is properly supplied. But when they get there, they find something truly terrible has happened. And they end up confronting the Deepnight entity. They end up trying to find out what has happened to the base staff and to the resupply crew, and ultimately fighting for their lives. There are also other things to be found on this outpost, which will lead into the Deepnight Revelation campaign. And if the characters do well, they will be given a place on the Deepnight Revelation mission. If they do very well, the payoff is they'll get command of that mission. And if they fail, they'll never do anything ever again. The first part of Terminus Point deals with the exploration of the Terminus Point system. And there, the travellers discover what happened to their predecessors and the device that they made to try to penetrate the hiding place of the entity. And there comes a point where the travellers have gained access. It wasn't easy, but they've gained access to this device. They now have to make a leap into the unknown. They now have to decide to go into the anomaly, not knowing what's in there, quite possibly unable to get back out again. And what they find inside is not what anyone would have expected. The entity is there, but it's not what they expected. And the travellers will have to make some very difficult choices. Ultimately, if they succeed, nobody will ever know. If they fail, it'll be centuries, millennia perhaps, but ultimately all life in the galaxy will be extinguished. In between Deepnight Legacy and Terminus Point is a 10-year voyage through completely uncharted space. New people, new aliens, wondrous sights, terrible dangers, and the odd encounter with the Deepnight entity. And the campaign Sourcebook gives a framework for this. It outlines the voyage, it details the ship, its equipment, some of the technologies on board and so forth, and it presents a framework for introducing any kind of traveller into this game. You don't have to be an explorer or a scientist or a naval officer. Anybody could be on this mission. There's room for a few oddballs. And in fact, nobody knows what we're going to encounter. So it could be that the fate of the galaxy rests with somebody you really wouldn't expect. The Referee's Handbook is a companion to the campaign Sourcebook, and it presents the mechanics that you need to resolve all of the things that are going to happen on a long voyage. Now, some of those are quite high level, things like abstracting part of the transit so that you don't have to map the whole galaxy. I actually started out trying to do that. I've created some rules so you don't have to. You're welcome. We've also got rules for things like food, because you can't carry enough. Now, that might seem like bean counting, but actually it generates adventures. The crew's exhausted, the food's in short supply, there's a planet that's a bit too good to be true up ahead. Well, maybe it isn't a death trap. We're going to have to go and find out, aren't we? So the mechanics that we've created are not just about resolving issues, they're also about generating adventures along the way. And it may well be that day-to-day activities like repairing the ship, getting some food, having a look in an asteroid field for exotic materials, these things may well generate adventures without the referee having to do any scripting at all. So in the box, as it were, we have a start point, we have an end point, and we have a framework for everything that happens in between. In future videos, I'm going to be discussing some of the things that are in there in some detail. But for now, I just want to share what I think is one of the most poignant moments in the whole campaign. At the end of the first transit, nearly 3 years in space, Deepnight Revelation meets a Navy ship, a tender that's been sent to provide the last refit she's going to get. And the travellers spend a little bit of time on a habitable planet, getting some rest and recreation in the fields, playing frisbee, whatever, with the crews of this ship. And there's a point where that ship turns round and goes home. And at that moment, the travellers are stood on the very edge of the map, on the edge of the unknown. And they have years ahead of them just to get to the destination. They don't know if they're coming back. And I found that moment quite poignant, really. There are others like it. The first time you find evidence of the people who went before you, the other crew who tried to carry out this mission.